Thank you so much, Your Excellency, Governor of Edo State, for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Sheung.
So you're wearing two hats tonight, as an aspirant and also as a governor, because we would like to touch on governance issues and also your bid in wanting the ticket of the APC. First and foremost, you think you deserve a re-election?
Oh, definitely, Sheung, definitely. If you know where Edo was in 2016, when I assumed office, and where it is today, you'll agree we've made tremendous strides. But those strides are not sufficient. They're not where we want to be. As at 2016, when I took over office, Edo was topping the list of people who were being trafficked from this country. Human trafficking was a big issue. We had, at a point, over 30,000 Edo citizens in Libya waiting to cross over. These are people who had lost hope, people who couldn't find jobs, and they just thought that anywhere else but home, will be it. Today, human trafficking is almost history. Because what we did was to understand why people had lost hope, why these kids did not want to stay at home. We found out it was because they were poorly educated, the educational system had collapsed, and because there were no jobs, there were no businesses, or very few businesses that could provide the job opportunities. So that defined how we then approach governance. And 3 years on, it's clear the evidence is out there. We have reenacted education in Edo State. We are making education what it should be, particularly public education. And everyone in the world is attesting to that. The World Bank, the Nigerian Union of Teachers have given awards to that effect. Today, a child in Edo State, a child in a primary school in Edo State, after 3 terms in school can read and write. We have trained over 12,000 teachers and given them digital platforms so that I can tell when a teacher is in class. I can tell if a teacher has completed his or her lesson notes for that day. I can tell how children, how they are doing in school to ensure that they are learning. And we're proud of what we've done with education in Edo, particularly Edo Best. And with the kind of education we are now giving our kids, the new generation of Edo citizens we're building, there'll be no need to leave home. There'll be no need to travel. They'll be confident, well-trained children with open minds that can now deal with the world they're facing. So we've done well. We've laid the foundations. 3 years, 4 years is certainly not enough to make those fundamental changes you need to on a sustainable basis. I need another term to consolidate on those reforms which we have started.
Are you very, very desperate about it?
No, I've never been desperate about anything in life.
Because you said you have laid a foundation,
yes,
and you needed to consolidate on it. That's what you've said.
Yes. So
should you get it? It's going to be okay for you. Should you not? How does that come to you?
I will not walk away, because walking away will not be serving God. I mean, I have 300,000 children today whose lives will be fundamentally changed by me being in office. Should I walk away from them? I have young men and women who were training for jobs. We're building a digital city. I'm giving hope. Should I walk away from them? So walking away is not under any consideration.
So you push as hard as you can?
Definitely.
So,
definitely.
I mean, let me take you up quickly on some of the things you said. You promised at a campaign that you're going to provide 200,000 jobs in 4 years.
Yes.
How many of those have you provided?
At the last count, and this was a survey done on an independent basis by Business Day, the newspaper, and this was about 6 months ago. They authenticated through our Edo Jobs platform that we had created about 157,000. That was about 5 months ago, 6 months ago. And it's kept growing. Unfortunately, we had COVID-19, the COVID-19 pandemic about 4 months ago, which certainly has slowed that process. Yeah, we may not be at 200,000 exactly, but clearly we are over 80, 90% to 200,000 jobs.
So because you were very confident monitoring your campaign at the time, that seems to be your major, because 200,000 jobs seems to be the posters that you find everywhere, dotting every nook and cranny of the Edo cities. Yes. And one would think that that was your campaign mantra. Precisely. At the time, 200,000 jobs. A lot of your opponents and your critics were saying, we want to see just how you're going to provide that. Having provided according to some of the statistics, because the jobs statistics are not exactly saying that Edo State has improved so much in the last 2 years or so in terms of unemployment rate. But would you say you have done well?
In the circumstance, we've done fantastically well. Fantastically well. But for COVID-19, if we had finished the survey and allotment of the 100,000 hectares of new oil palm plantations, which is in the bowl, that easily would have created another 50,000 jobs. So we were clear that where did we think we'll get the jobs from? First, by getting young people to understand technology. So if you come to the Edo State Technology Hub today, you find anyone who's any company that's worth it, that's what is ranking, is there. Cisco, Google, Facebook, everybody training young men and women. These are people who are doing coding, people who are investing in their own businesses. We're supporting a lot of SMEs. As government, we're also employing. We have Edo Jobs. We're matching employers with job seekers. We're giving training. We're giving support, particularly in areas like agriculture, where we have the agripreneur scheme, where we've put over 10,000 hectares of land under cultivation, and we have in excess of 3,000 people, taking those opportunities. So we across the spectrum, from technology to education to agriculture to services, logistics, transportation, we've provided jobs.
So, and you think presently that your re-election bid is not being threatened right now, especially because of your internal party crisis?
It's not being threatened from the perspective that if Edo people are allowed to express themselves, if the APC members are allowed to express themselves and follow the laid-down party constitution and regulations, we shouldn't have a problem. It's very clear.
But you fear that may not happen?
Well, from the discussions that are currently going on, we're trying to make sure it doesn't happen, because it will not be in the interest of our party.
What gives you the impression that that may not happen?
Well, I am optimistic, because as you know very well, Sheon, last week, some governors of the party were in Lagos to see the leader of the party. They went to see the chairman of the party. So conversations are on, so that we can build internal peace and harmony within our party. We're the ruling party. It's ours to lose, and really, there's really no reason why we should lose.
Have you met the national chairman, Adams Oshiomhole, recently?
Not recently.
Face-to-face?
Not recently, face-to-face.
Have you spoken with him recently?
Not recently.
Are you optimistic that you might be able to resolve your rift with him anytime soon?
I do not have a rift with him as a person.
But you are not in good terms with him?
I just do not agree with how he is, at some decisions he's taking as it relates to the party. It's not in the interest of our party. You see, from our quarrel has been that we're doing things that are outside the constitution of our party. The logic of democracy is that it's the people that should drive democracy. Democracy should be built bottom up and not top down. Democracy should start from the base. So in the last 4 years, going 4 years, we in Edo have restructured our party. We've built from the units, through the wards, through the local government, to the state. And the executives at every level are in harmony. and they've been working hard. So our party is very strong in the state. And the quarrel is, look, the party is not allowed to make its decisions from the base. Decisions are imposed from the top. And that's not auguring well. It's creating, disharmony within the system.
That's the bottom line.
Bottom line.
Because you said at some point that you were some of the reasons why you're not in alignment with some of the opposition in the party is because you are not willing to give Edo people's money to a political godfather. Is he one of those?
Well, we have, our politics has evolved. Our democracy is maturing. The type of politics we played in 1999 cannot be the same type of politics in the year 2020. Today, 21 years after, even a child who is 21 is now an adolescent. He wants to do things differently. So you cannot continue to restrict the political space. You've got to open it up. You can't say, okay, the reward for political participation, for patronage, is to now have non-state actors beginning to take over state resources. We had a situation when I took over. My local government, Oredo local government, the total internal IGR, internally generated revenues that accrued to Oredo local government as at December 2016 was under 10 million naira. And this was a local government that was owing salaries and pensions. Today, with that same local government, because of the restructuring, earns almost 100 million naira a month. So those actors, those political actors, who used to benefit from that arrangement, you don't expect them to be happy. But, the greater number of people in Edo State are happy for it.
Governor, you've not mentioned the names. Since you mentioned, a lot of people were wondering whether at some point you're going to mention the names of the political actors who you said were wanted the monies of Edo State and you were willing, and that's the reason why they were fighting you.
Well, are they fighting me? That's the issue. If so, who is fighting me?
I mean, you're obviously. I mean, the headlines are there to tell who exactly you are up against.
Clearly, those who are, say whatever they are saying, clearly are not happy with what we've done, right? And so the issue, to answer your question, I am not going to be naming names. It's like, okay, there are interests, there are people who are saying Obaseki should not come back. And when you ask them, why don't you want Obaseki back? And I've not found any concrete reason. They haven't said, we don't want Obaseki back because we don't like his educational policy. We don't want him because he's not doing well in infrastructure.
They said you shot the hospital that was 70-something% done, and you did not open it up. That's one of the grievances.
Well, so I rather want to talk about how to move Edo forward, not focus on the mistakes of the past.
That was a mistake, right?
Well, clearly, if a hospital, in your view, was 70-something% complete, and we now have to deal with and respond to COVID, would we have been able to? So I rather want to look at the future.
Because I look at one of the things that you said also recently about, it seems you have a fear about the mode of primaries. And you raised an issue about the circumstances surrounding the mode of primaries. Your party at the national level says they want a direct mode of primaries. And you said direct mode of primaries does not augur well in the COVID era.
I'm sure there are two separate issues, two very, very distinct issues. One is political, and one is public health related. In terms of primaries, I'm a true party man. It doesn't really matter to me what mode of primaries. I'm confident enough, given what we have done in the party, that we'll win any mode of election if honestly and transparently conducted. But we have our party constitution, and it's clear as to how how primaries should be conducted. And our party constitution is clear because democracy builds bottom up. The party constitution says that the state executive will determine the type of primaries they want. It's the state exco that conducts the primaries. The national just comes in to supervise what the state does. And our constitution is clear. And the constitution says you can either have direct, indirect, or consensus. And the state exco has opted for indirect. So I just think that, that's the political
Let's take
bit.
a breather, Governor Obaseki, for a moment. We'll take a break, but when we come back, we allow Governor Obaseki to talk about his re-election bid, the crisis in the APC, and moving Edo State forward. That's going to be next, everyone. Join us again. Thank you so much, everyone. Let's get back to the conversation with the governor of Edo State, Godwin Obaseki. Thank you so much, Governor Obaseki, for coming tonight. And as well, candidate Obaseki, because you're gunning for the ticket of your party. Let's get back. You were talking about the mode of primaries. You said you're not afraid of any mode of primaries, but you were explaining on 2 points where you stand.
Yes. So I've said first there is the political issue as it relates to the primaries, and then there's a public health issue. Our response to COVID-19 from Edo, as you are aware, Shehu, has been based on data and proper research. We have responded based on information. And we commissioned an epidemiological survey before we had our index case. And I don't know if you can show that survey. You will see that the survey clearly told us in April that Edo will peak, COVID-19 will peak in Edo about the 28th of June. And what we should do is ensure that we try and flatten that curve and reduce the projected number of infected persons. And we've taken several steps, including investing in isolation centers and focusing on screening and testing. In Edo today, we have 3 PCR laboratories. And what we've tried to do to make sure that with the risk communication messages we're putting out there to our people to ensure that they wash their hands regularly, to ensure that they keep physical and social distancing, and also make sure that they wear their face masks. That is why we made it compulsory for people to wear face masks in Edo. But despite all of those efforts, we've not been able to conquer the trend. If you look at if you look at the reported cases,
okay,
our index case.
That's going to be the next.
Precisely.
Okay. So
our index case was on the 23rd of March, right? It took for 60 days up to the 17th of May for us to have the first 100 cases, right? It took another 10 days for us to move from 100 to 200 cases. It's now taking 5 days to move from 200 to 300 cases. And you can see, so the virus is, at that, critical stage where it's spreading rapidly. And it doesn't make, it will be jeopardizing the health and safety of the citizens of Edo State to allow elections, primary elections, to be conducted in 200 locations on the same day.
But you are the governor of the state. You are the chief executive of the state. You are aware of this. Have you passed this information to the national body of the party?
Certainly have.
Have you advised them?
We have advised them. We've written. In fact, we had to promulgate, amend our infectious diseases regulation to ensure that we don't have more than 20 people gathered together in a place. But for the purpose of political, politics, we've said fine. We don't have the resources to, and we will not advise the regulatory body, INEC, to expose its staff to, supervising, elections in 200 or more locations at this point in time. The option is for us to have the elections conducted in one location where people can be screened, where we can disinfect the environment and make sure there's enough social, physical distancing is maintained.
Would you participate in a direct, if your party insists that they're going ahead with a direct mode, would you participate in it?
Well, I will not violate the party, our party constitution.
But you are caught between the laws you signed
they're two separate,
and the fact that your party says...
They're separate things. First, I don't expect my party to behave unlawfully. I mean, this is a law to protect the health and safety of our citizens.
But we understand,
don't forget,
Governor, we understand that your party has transmitted the mode of primaries to INEC.
Well, I've said even that has a problem because it didn't follow our constitution. So on both counts, we have issues. Politics will come and go. But, so we should not risk the lives of our citizens on the altar of politics today. Look at the cases I'm having. I have 350 as of today. And my projection is that it's going into thousands. Should I, as a responsible governor, sit back and say, because of politics, I'll allow my people to die? I can't. Even if I did, God will never forgive me. So there's an issue of, order, of constitution, law, and politics, and there's an issue of public safety. And we must learn to balance them.
So when you met with the president, did he endorse you?
What do you think, Sheil? From the body language and the relationships, and will the president now come and take a photograph with me and allow, and share my form with me if he's not happy that I'm seeking re-election?
Well, a lot of people say, he received you because you're the governor, not that he endorsed you. That's what your opponent is saying.
Well, let them go and ask him to receive them.
So because, this probably just also supports the notion of what Chief John Oyegun has said, that the president has said yourself and the governor of Ondo State should be given a chance of first refusal in the race.
So in most democracies, that is the practice. Look at the United States. How many Republicans are contesting against President Trump? Right? Donald Trump. You see, because the party is in power. The party, particularly when the party is doing well, you want to support what you already have. You don't want to create dissension and weaken what you have. That is not to say there should not be a contest. Politics and democracy, it's about contestation. But as a party, why would you want to upset and create so much dissension within your ranks if there's no need to? If Godwin Obaseki has not done well, he's not been able to pay salaries, he's not been able to pay pensions, he's not been able to build infrastructure, he's not been able to pursue the party programs and policies, then you can argue that, well, this governor may not be able to deliver to the party. But I'm not sure that's the case in Edo today.
Yeah, the institution we put right there on the screen of the University of Ibadan,
right,
that you read classics,
right,
is there any case of forgery?
Well, it's so absurd that people can talk about forgery of certificates from the premier university in this country. The University of Ibadan is just less than 100 kilometers from me, from Lagos. If you think there's an issue, then why not call the university? The alumni association of the university has spoken about it. So it's nonsense. But it's not surprising that the people who are making such accusations, who are leveling such accusations, themselves I'm sure themselves think that it's so easy because they may not have gone through proper schools, that it's so easy to go and forge certificates of, high quality universities and, get away with it.
Let's conclude the conversation. And on this, I think we should anchor by asking you Are you afraid of Osage Ezeyam?
Why should I be? We contested before. It wasn't, you know, the last time I contested, he was my opponent from the PDP. And the votes are there. I beat him. That is when I had no track record as a governor. Now with the track record as a governor, I don't have any fears. But, you know...
Should you lose the party ticket, would you support anybody who wins?
If the process is free, transparent, and credible, why not? But if it's not, why should I?
Governor Godwin Obaseki, thank you so much indeed for coming tonight.
Thank you.
What a moment for you to speak about some of these very touchy issues that you have spoken about tonight.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, and I wish you the very best in the coming days.
Thank you.